Okay, good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. If you will take a moment to read this legal notice, I'll give it 5 seconds. There we go. So, good morning. Day after trend day up. So, let's jump right in. Yesterday, the trader assist took no trades, big fat zeros on both sides, which is totally fine with me. The zones haven't changed very much overnight. So what you had, I'm going to discuss this from a manual standpoint. So eventually these zones will be auto traded. But if you look yesterday in the morning, this zone was already here when we started off the day. And if you look at what's launching us out of those zones, right? So we opened up. This zone technically started over here from a higher time frame. That was just late, I think. Started from a higher time frame, and you can see that backside test there. And what you'll notice as you look at those zones is what's launching them out of there is to be in physical contact. Like there's two things you kind of want. You want physical closes back in, like that, and then on the turn you either want a green or white bar. And then if you wanted to raise that one more level, what you'd want is a white bar long, white bar long and green bar. Well, I guess it can be either color. Let me collect more data to get that right. But you definitely want it white or green on the turn, right? So if you look through the course of the day, this zone is not yet gets established over here because that's where I started drawing it, right? But we're not yet, this is actually resistance until the point at which it gets above it. So we get above here, we come back in, and again, what are you looking for? The green bar's up. You get one here. That's worth, let's call it 20-ish points. It was very slow in the afternoon. Come over here. This is worth less, 15 points. And this was pretty much a stop. I don't think anyone would have scaled that had you taken it. And it was extremely, extremely slow yesterday. Very, very slow. And then you can see overnight, see this zone already exists, right? So obviously I don't trade overnight, I'm not running it overnight, but you're looking for the green bars up, right? And the first bar is obviously the best bar, needless to say, but you'll see you're looking for the green bars up, so that gives you a double advantage. You know this is support, right? And now you know where within support you're looking to take the risk, so you end up with a 1 bar risk, and now unlike the old way where we used to do it, where it was a second bar entry. The second bar entry is still a tighter stop, but it's the first bar, and it's a 15-point stop, is what my data tells me, right? And then you can see when we come back over on the back side, right? Now you want the bars in the direction of. So you really only get one, and it has to be on the turn. So it's this bar right here. Actually, I'd take it back, get two. You get that bar. And again, this is a 24 tick, and we're in pre-market conditions, so it's pretty slow, right? So obviously, clearly gives you enough to scale out. Green bar down. That one gives you 20 points. Nice trade. And then obviously, what we need right now is, unless we go back to the 60, right? What we want from the 60 is what we want is a bar with a square and some type of color within that square. So right now, this is still your resistance up here. This is resistance until you get above. If we got above this, right, I would look for a backside test back in and then a push up, and then this becomes your resistance. If we get back above this, barring any new data coming in, right, so they're dynamic, we'll change as they go along. Backside test, push up. Conversely, as long as we stay underneath here, this is resistance. Then you can see on the way back, your support levels are over here, right? This isn't hard, extremely hard to figure out. Here. Wrong one. There we go. Here. Here. Then here. Right, and that probably covers us for the day when you think about it. We're at 895. That takes us all the way down to 21,512. Always can be a tape bomb coming from the president or from other sources, but this is probably our support for the day, barring a large expansion in volatility. And I would look for responsive buyers down here. I look for resistance here and here, and obviously you have the prior day's high. And then in this zone, you can already see how poorly auctioned it is to begin with. So what you really want is when your algo is fire. So the next evolution of the trader assistant will be to take these trades out of this zone, which is what we'll work on next, right? So I want to pause. Does that make sense to everybody? And everyone who has the trader assist, I will send this out today. We had to make one more correction yesterday, so I have it. It's just not. It just wasn't ready to send out yet. It is now, so I will send out new versions of this. The back testing on this, if you're back testing, let me know. The back testing can be very, very slow on this chart book that I'm sending out because it automatically adjusts value area high and value area low intraday along with a point of control, and it really beats down the computer when it tries to do a back test. So you got to strip it out of there just so you can do a test on the algos for those who have it, right? So these are the areas I'm looking in, and then I will update these because the latest is the greatest as the information fills in from this 60 tick, and we'll translate it over to the machine. But we really have I really don't care what the market does, quite frankly, because I have a pretty good lockdown on where I need how I need the market to respond and what I'm looking for from the market, right? So again, I think each of these white bars and green bars in the direction of are very good. I just want to wait till the market opens to trade. So now I want to go back. I went back to my 2016 journals, and after President Trump was elected, I was very frustrated because the market really from that January, December time when he took office, all the way up to March and April and into May, the market pretty much went up, right? Like every single dip could be bought. Every single dip can be bought. And it's never same twice, but it rhymes a lot, right? Not identical, but it rhymes a lot. And you can just see that the volatility is getting locked down. There's small rotations in it, and what I see is traders start to panic, right? Particularly guys who are heavily active day traders. You just got to get used to. We're going to go through some of these periods where it's really slow, right? And if you try to stay overactive in a really slow environment, you're going to get your ass beat. Like it just doesn't go anywhere, right? And even though I can find trades, I'm finding trades very, very slowly. So you have two choices. I did not go back and look at the 15 tick to see if there was better trades there. Because it's mentally hard to keep jumping back and forth, especially from a programming standpoint. It's very hard to keep jumping back and forth. And B, it's not necessary. This is what I want to get across. We've been through this. We've been through hey, it's slow, hey, it's going straight up, hey, every dip is getting bought. And then here's the other trick about it. The longs aren't all that easy, right? Let me explain what I mean by that. If you look yesterday, I had a pretty good sense we were going higher, right? But you had to take, is this yesterday? No, that's Tuesday. That's mid-morning. You pretty much had to take, it was earlier, it was this 8:30 bar right here. You pretty much had to take that white bar up after we established over this zone. Sorry, I meant to draw you had to take that white bar up to grab the long. So then let's look at the individual bars and how they perform. So several people thought or asked me why we didn't take a long here. Okay, so here's the problem. When you look at the numbers from a trader assist standpoint, the longs are consistently underperforming the shorts. And there's lots of reasons for that, right? One of the reasons for it is if you'll notice, so let me give you an example. See when shorts cut away, and they cut away hard? See how, even though we're in a bull market, see how that cut away pretty much in a straight line and no retest of the primary bar, okay? That happens, here I want to show you. This happens quite a bit with shorts, whether you have the algo or not always. But you can find quite a few examples of when it breaks away, it just goes, right? On longs, right, we're in a bull market, right? So look from the open. On all these bars that were lift bars, green bar up. You're like, oh, that's usually pretty good, right? Green bar up. All of these come back and constantly get retested, right? So that creates a paradigm problem. The problem it creates is if you're trying to keep your, okay, so there's two classes of traders, right? There's the, hey, I trade Apex and I trade, really it's just Apex and Bullinox and those guys on those prop accounts. And then there's guys that trade cash, right? So if you trade cash, the solution to this problem is quite simple on the longs. If you don't move your stop, right? So if you get your long plus bar sign stuffed, if you don't move your long, right? If you get your trying to find some other reversal bars, plus sign, if you don't move your long, if you don't move your stop, right, you're fine. You actually get the P&L, right? Here's the rub. Most people in this room are trying to trade Apex or Top Step, right? And they're allergic to stops, and they're allergic. So in my cash accounts, right, the answer to the longs is quite simple. The stop is at the low and don't move it. That's the answer, right? I can just tell you right now, but even in an up market, when you go back and look, I'll show you. Okay, this is arguably an up move, right? This is arguably from the low is an up move, right? So let's just play pretend. Let's say you grab the trade here, right? It does go up, comes back. If you grab the trade here, you get stopped, trap back in, lifts. But now watch once it breaks out, right? So here's the breakout. We're in supernova, right? No algo there, but it almost comes all the way back, meaning if you moved your stop up over here, right, you're like, great, I got 30 points. It's a 24-tick chart, or 40 points, right? Comes all the way back to test your second bar, your green bar, right? You get the long plus sign stuffed, right? You survive all the way down, pushes up, you get a profit. Oh, great, I'll move my stop to break even. You're stopped out right there. It hit the top of the bar, okay? You get the long over here, right? Went up, when you look at the chart, came all the way back to test, right? You get the long here, came back and actually stopped you out. You get the long here, comes back to retest that bar constantly on the longs. So when you're versus, right, when I get the short, right, see how it's just falling away? When I get it, right, see how most of the time it's falling away. What it's not doing, see when it comes down in curves like this, right? It's not coming most of the time it's not coming all the way back to that first bar. Most of the time it's not. And it falls away because you finally exhaust everyone and it falls away pretty quickly. But almost always on the longs, and what everyone's trying to do, what everyone wants to do, there's not an exception to the rule, is they want to move their stop up, right? So I'm highly confident. I haven't asked Ed to do this yet, but I will. But on the long side, when we get the proper algo, right? When you get the proper algo at the proper support point during the U.S. session, I'm pretty sure when you come back, this is the exception, right? This is the exception where it doesn't come back after that second bar up. But the majority of the time, see this? If you move your stop up at all, right, beyond even this break even, so this one survives, but most of them come back to the top of that bar. It likes to retest the top of that bar on the turns, right? So here I'll show you. So short falls away completely. Let me go to the US hours. Sorry, I picked overnight. Okay, so here's US hours, right? So this one worked. If you got the plus sign stuffed and it lifts, right? Here's white bar stuffed. If you take that long, it's not a trade-off for us, but let's say it was, right? You get the long. It lifts nicely, but if you move that stop up too quickly and it doesn't get your full extension, you're stopped. Just follow me on this, right? Let's go find the next symbol. Plus sign stuffed. Lift. That's a beautiful lift. This is a tradable lift. That's about $400 to $500 a contract. Retest the first bar, right? I'm looking for the signal to get us long. This would be where you'd have a stop if you took the plus sign stuffed. Again, I prefer in the direction of, but doesn't matter. Lifts obviously comes back to stop you out, and it actually truly stops you out, right? And most of the time when you go through a long series of trades on this is what you're finding over and over and over again on trades that if you looked at the chart, right, like if I looked at that and go, so someone asked me, so again, if I get this short, fall straight away. Short, multiple bars straight away, right? But long, right? First of all, that stop, apex trap, lift, retest, never stops, right? So when you look at this trade on that trap, right? So watch, if you look at the trade on that trap, I'm not going to go through the specific setups, it would just take me too long. These constantly come back and retest on the long side. This trade, this entry right here, is worth 200 points, and no one makes it, right? Because of this constant grind, trap, retrap deal that we go through all the way through, versus if I get the white bar down, see ya, in a straight line. And that's why it reflects when you come through the numbers. Let's see if I still have this here. When you go through the numbers, no matter where I look, whether it's a bull market or a bear market, I want to come up here. So this was way up here. So the parameters were a little bit different on this. I'm looking for that 4 square. There. Okay, so this is between the aggressive and the conservative, and obviously most people are running the non-aggressive model, right? But when you look at the longs versus the shorts, longs here, 19K versus, and the shorts made 27K. Here, longs made 20, the shorts made 24K. And it gets more exaggerated under different models and different situations. This is first scale at 20 points. It makes 32 and 25. This one makes 19 and 27. The aggressive model makes 25 and 32. And this is covering 917 to 1231 in this model. So it's a bit bigger time. And we've made adjustments now because we've made it easier for the longs to get its scales, right? But then you get into places like where we are currently, and the model flips, right, for like last month. Let's see, this is December 17th to January 17th, and the longs, because we've gotten choppier, right, are at 5,000. Again, we've improved this actually to almost 50 now with small changes. But the longs are at 54.05 for the whole month, right? And the shorts are at 34.520. And the reason for this is when you go back and look at a great deal of these trades is we got choppy, right? And so the longs, just like the shorts, if we're in those V modes where it just turns and burns, the longs do just fine. But the majority of the time we're going through this balance area, and you'll get the turn, but we don't get these extensions because our trailer gets stopped out, right? So we're working on it. That's a work in progress. But that's what happens when you go, oh, I had the low, or oh, I had the long from a trading perspective. Now I want to point something out over here as well, right? See through here, you're looking for the guy that's trapped. That's where the breakout is going to come from, right? So see, when we're looking through here, I'm going, who's the strongest guy in here that sold and got trapped? And it's this guy right here. See this guy up here? It's this guy right here. Now watch what happens. If I highlight that guy, so you got to go slow to see this, right? If I highlight that guy, right? Notice the first bars in the direction of is what's leading to the breakout. So this was on January 14th, right? Now look at yesterday. We're about to open, by the way. I have my Trader Assist. I'm running the same one I ran yesterday, and that's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm running the same one as yesterday, and I'll spend a day, once I download this, redistributing this chart. But here's yesterday morning, okay? So market opens right here. This is Tuesday, excuse me. Too many days loaded. Wednesday. There we go. Market opens. So what I am looking for, right, this is my strongest seller is what I'm looking for. And actually, my last strongest seller was this guy right over here. This green bar down, which is the strongest volume bar that we have. So in order to go lower, we had to beat that guy and we had to beat this guy, whoever they are, right? Or gal, doesn't matter to me, right? Then within here, I'm looking for my strongest seller. So notice I don't get it. So these guys still ruled the roost because they had the biggest push, right? So look when they come back against them, right? I'm above these guys, right? I've got to get above this guy. When I get above this guy, green bar, lifts. Now what am I looking for? White bar on the turn, right? And plus this came off the 64 tick as well. So higher burn rate, higher reliability, right? So white on the turn, white on the turn, nothing on the turn, right? White on the turn, right? Now, over here, right, in order to break out, when you go back and look, this guy and this guy were my sellers, right? See how they sold? They gave them a little short squeeze above, barely made it, and got underneath. So now I know if I put a line above those two bars, which is basically this, right, my first green bar above that should lift. This is pure momentum trade. Green bar up, one bar stop, off you go, right? Because I'm looking for my last best seller, and then the inverse works on my last best buyer. And if you look, this guy's my last best buyer. Put a line underneath him, close underneath, come back up, white bar down, releases. That's a process in and of itself and all by itself. Okay, so multiple ways to do it manually, not done in an automated. The Trader Assist is not set up for this trade yet. It would be harder to execute. It'll be harder to program, but we'll think about it. From a manual standpoint, it works just great. Okay, and you should be able to go anywhere on this chart. It's not just, oh, look, this is the last 3 days. Here, this is in August, right? So I'm going to do the same thing. This is August 14th in the afternoon. Here's my last best seller, right there. See the blue square with the orange? Not quite the strongest bar, but it's a pretty strong bar. Okay, he's buried above, green bar, one bar stop, see you, green bar on the turn, and that was that, right? When you come down again, when you're looking for your push, right? I'm looking for my seller. My seller right now is over here, right? See, my seller's over here. Now, if I was going to be a little bit more picky, I'd say I want my seller buried down low, right, is what I want to get. I want him to look like this, right? So I end up with this guy back over here, and I really don't get anything clear because I need, if I draw a line over that, okay, so look, I draw a line over that. I beat this guy right here. This guy's been beaten, right? Now watch what happens. Green bar on the turn. Green bar on the turn. Why? Because this guy's in trouble. And what you want to see, if you're that guy, right? If you're that guy, what you want to see is this. See how this seller came in on the turn? That's what I was hoping for yesterday at the high, right? We didn't get it yesterday. But see how that guy came in at the turn, right? So look all the way up. Where's your first strong seller? All the way, all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way up is this guy, and then who's going to defend? This dude has to defend, and we get stuck underneath him. Highlight this guy. When we get underneath, the white bars down should give you extension. And there you go. And that's how that works. Okay, so if you'll slow down, especially for my manual traders, Dan, I'm thinking of you specifically. That's what you're looking for when you get underneath those zones. We'll attempt to program that and have the Trader Assist do it, but if I was looking for ways where I had high security and knowing I have the trades to work in my favor, that is exactly what I would be doing. So this morning, right, we're going to wait. When I look on the 64, right, I don't have, this is still, this guy's trapped. We've closed underneath him. And then this is the other area where I have high volume. And then down here, this is the area going back to these two guys, right? And I would expect a responsive buy from 21,739 to 21,680. And I will look at this 24 tick, the up bars with the algos on them, and preferably white or green plus a square if I can get it, but all of that's added to it. So just to keep it simple, white or green on the turn, and that's what I'm looking for on my longs out of here. And you know now, because the data is telling you, because the machine never messes up, right? It's always going to do it exactly the way we program it, right? So the trader assist is always going to take the trades properly, right? So you know two things. For those of you who want to turn it on and off, right? This is a way to turn it on and off, is to highlight these zones and then manually turn it on and off. I'm fine just letting it run. I know it does just fine as is. Important today, we have Trump at 10 a.m. He likes, if you remember from his last deal, he likes to drop bombs on the market, both good and bad. I don't know what it's going to do, but I do know that I'll let the trader assist handle that part of the day, certainly. Does anyone else have any questions before we get to work today? I want to reiterate yesterday, right? We have a trader, right? A trader assist that went all day long in this environment, takes shorts automatically, right? And took not one short. Now I'm going to grant you, it didn't take a long either, right? Didn't take a long either. But I don't care about the longs in this environment, right? I care about not getting destroyed in a market that's just grinding straight up and it's super hard to get those shorts to work until they finally just bow, turn, and you can just see they flip from all ask to all bid. That's all that happened there, right? So patience, let the market come to you. We've got a great process no matter how you're using it, whether you're using just the manual trading aspect or you're using the trader assist or both, like I am, right? And let the trade come to you slowly, step by step. Any questions? Everyone should be pretty relaxed. I know I am. So I'm going to cut this down to 3 days from the 180 it currently exists at. On the trader assist, you should have yours. I have them all on 3 days, right? You can see this is the 24-hour, this is the 24-hour overnight, right? You can see we just touched yesterday's 24-hour unfair pricing and found responsive buyers. And there is no unfair pricing up above, just FYI, right? So we have the current 24 hours that starts at 5 p.m. in the evening, and that's the unfair pricing up above. And then we have a large area of unfair pricing all the way down through here. And then we know specifically from the higher tick bars what that looks like. And again, you can see green bars and white bars leading you to pretty good trades. That's currently, until I get more data, this 21,741 is what I'm looking for the longs. Okay, so nothing else to add besides that. Let's go have a great day. And to be clear, there will be times when we reverse without getting to a support zone. Just part of the deal, right? I'll get rid of my beautiful white lines. And guys on YouTube, thanks for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. Trade well.